Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the Premier League game at Selhurst Park, where Crystal Palace lead Brentford by a goal to nil. Looping header from Jean-Philippe Mateta, a very good looping header after a free kick from Jeremy Pino, was headed across the 6-yard box by Jefferson Lerma, and then the header from Mateta giving Crystal Palace the lead. Deservedly, I would say. Palace has showed attacking intent in the first half, which Brentford clearly lacked in the first 45 minutes. We hardly mentioned the attacking three of Schade, Altara and Igor Thiago, and now I'm going to mention Kevin Schade, but not for a good reason, because inside the first 30 seconds of the second half, just a bit of loose possession for Brentford around 25 yards out from Palace's goal, and Schade is in an offside position, so it will be a free kick to Palace. I'll just remind you of the two 11s. No changes at half time. For Palace, it is Dean Henderson in goal, a back three of Chris Richards, Maxence Lacroix and Mark Gay. The four across the middle are Daniel Munoz, Daichi Kamada, Jefferson Lerma and Tyreek Mitchell, with Ismaila Sarr, Jeremy Pino and Jean-Philippe Mateta as the attacking three. For Brentford, Koimin Kelleher in goal, a back four of Michael Coyote, Nathan Collins, Sepp Vandenberg and Christopher Ayer. The two holder midfielders are Yeho Yarmoliuk and Jordan Henderson. The three ahead of them are Dango Otara, Mikkel Damsgaard and Kevin Schade, with Igor Thiago as the front man. A long ball now from the right hand side from Coyote, aimed at Otara. That one's cleared by Gay into midfield. Jeremy Pino is fighting for that one. Coyote's got tangled with him, but the ball ends up with Kamada, and suddenly Palace can go on the counter. It's Ismaila Sarr, and he's got Kamada in support, but the pass to Kamada was, well, it was hopeful to say the least, but the clearance from Collins goes straight through to Ismaila Sarr. So Brentford have given the ball away. It's now played back towards Jefferson Lerma, and Palace are back in possession. So just to remind you of the scores elsewhere: Brighton lead against Leeds by a goal to nil. It's Burnley 0, Arsenal 2. It's Fulham 1, 10-man Wolves 0, and it's Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester United 1. Brighton, Leeds, Burnley, Arsenal and Fulham Wolves are all still at half-time. Must have had a bit more injury time compared to our game here, whereas we are underway here at Selhurst Park, of course, as well as at the City Ground, where it's Nottingham Forest 0, Man United 1. And just to confirm the later games in the Premier League this evening, Tottenham against Chelsea, Liverpool against Villa. I myself moved to Scottish League Cup duty at 5:30 for the game between Motherwell and St Mirren. But back to Selhurst Park here. It's Palace in possession, deep inside their own half, with Gahey now. Long ball over the top, but it's a good ball as well, taken down on the chest by Pino. He needs some support. He's got support down the left here from Mitchell, but he was working down on a very narrow corridor there right by the touchline. Brentford are able to dispossess him, and now here's a chance for Otaro, though he was pushed off the ball as far as Brentford are concerned. I'm not sure referee Peter Banks agrees with that. He's just going to say that it is a throw on to the Bees on the right hand side, and we see Keith Andrews, who's enjoyed a decent little spell in the last 3 or 4 games, but he would have had to have earned his money at half time, because Brentford reverted to the side that was a little bit flat at the start of the season. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as that first half performance away to Forest, which is probably the worst half of football that Brentford have played under Keith Andrews, but certainly not enough invention, not enough possession in terms of trying to get forward. And actually, when you consider that the goal was scored from a free kick that Brentford gave away, and then a header across the 6-yard box and nobody could stop, and then nobody was marking Mateta, and nobody could do anything about the header itself. So there was plenty that Brentford could have done to actually have avoided conceding that goal as well. But take nothing away from Mateta, it really was a very, very good header. And Brentford now trying to push forward here. Vandenberg down the left-hand side towards Ayer. Under pressure, having to stop his run immediately and go back towards Jordan Henderson. Back to Ayer on the left-hand side, being closed down by Ismaila Sarr. But Ayer can keep possession here and go back towards Vandenberg. He's being closed down by Mateta, so it's back to Kelleher. Kelleher can't keep too long because Mateta was closing him down, but the goalkeeper does send a long ball right into the Palace half, headed forward by Mark Gahey. Loose ball may still drop here, and it does on the left-hand side here for Mitchell, who then tries an early ball into the box, and it's a good ball as well to find Mateta. Plays it across the 6-yard box. A little bit of hesitancy there from the goalkeeper Kelleher, but thankfully for him, his teammate in defence there, Vandenberg, was quick to react, and he clears the ball out for a throw. But Mateta doesn't waste any time in turning to those Palace fans behind the goal, just to let them know they need to start giving Palace a bit more support. It's usually something you don't need to worry about at Selhurst Park. The support here is normally very good, albeit that hardcore element is at the other end of the ground, where they spend the entire afternoon trying to generate, generating a fantastic atmosphere. I Imagine that most of those fans in that corner are the ones that then go on the long away trips as well. But Palace now have a long throw here. I say a long throw because they tried a short throw initially with Jefferson Lerma, but he gets blocked off, so now he actually drives the ball. He's going to try and launch this one into the penalty area, which is what he does. It's a long throw from Lerma. Oh, and it's going to be an own goal! Oh, the irony of that. Goodness me. Crystal Palace take the double their lead here on 50 minutes, and wouldn't you know it, Brentford have conceded a goal from a long throw. The irony of that. It's a long throw from Jefferson Lerma and then an own goal from Nathan Collins, and it's Crystal Palace 2, Brentford 0, and that will be very, very disappointing. I dare say that those of a Liverpool persuasion will enjoy that. The fact that Brentford, who have began to master the long throw in the last few months, have now conceded from a long throw with their own club captain actually scoring the own goal. So yeah, that's certainly one that you couldn't write it, could you? That kind of thing actually has to happen organically by itself. But yeah, I mean, it's actually, if it was an attacking header, you'd say that Collins has done really well because he's redirected a very powerful low throw into the bottom corner. And now just 6 minutes into the second half, Brentford have doubled their problems in terms of trying to make the difference up here at Selhurst Park. It's Crystal Palace 2, Brentford 0. And Brentford now trying to, well, as I say, I mean, in terms of the stats, this is what's, well, just as I say that, Brentford have lost the ball in midfield, and here's Ismaila Sarr. Great chance for 3-0, it's off the post, and it's it's cleared from the edge of the 6-yard box. Brentford gave the ball away in midfield. Ismaila Sarr charging through the middle. He gets to the edge of the area. His effort hits the base of the post, goes along the line before it's cleared away. How close was that? I mean, Nathan Collins is having a nightmare few minutes. He scored the own goal and now he just gives the ball. He gifts that possession straight to Ismaila Sarr. And he'll be so grateful that Sarr's effort just hits the base of the post and deflects into the middle of the 6-yard box, which allows Collins enough time to clear his lines. But that did not look good from a Brentford point of view. It's a ball now at the edge of the area with Kamada going for the strike. It's charged down by Henderson before it bounces into midfield. Tara and Tariq Mitchell fighting for it before it drops towards the Damsgaard. He hits the deck, but he wasn't fouled. Coyote now tries to play the ball away, but all he can do is find straight to Mark Gay. Then Gay into the box, and Gay hits the deck, but I think he was already falling. That's what Peter Banks was suggesting. Brentford trying to push forward, but any long ball played towards Igor Thiago. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not even sure if Igor Thiago's touched the ball 5 times in this game. That might even be pushing it, because he's had absolutely no service whatsoever. And there again, he was just chasing shadows. That ball certainly wasn't played directly to him. It's now with Aya on the left-hand side. With the stats bear it out, 6 efforts from Palace, 2 of which have been on target. Brentford have had 2 efforts. Both of them have been off target. We've got another goal in the Premier League to tell you about. It's now 1-1. In fact, no, it's 2-1. Nottingham Forest have completely turned things around in a minute. They were 1-0 down at half-time after a goal from Casemiro, and now on 49 minutes, Morgan Gibbs-White makes it 1-1, and then on 50 minutes, Nicolas Savona makes it 2-1. So everything is changed around in that game. Perhaps that's that Dyche effort, that Dyche impact is having a difference for Nottingham Forest already. As I say, they had a decent win in Europe in their first game. Disappointing results last time out, but it's so important that they can try to turn things around. It would be very important, I think, if they could hold on to that win against Manchester United. But back to action here at Selhurst Park. It is Palace in possession down the right-hand side. Daniel Munoz just losing his balance, but there was a touch off Christopher Aya, so it will be a throw to Palace on the right-hand side. Waiting to restart play here is the Colombian Daniel Munoz. In fact, no, I take it back. It was a free kick as Munoz hit the deck. I thought the referee just allowed play to go on and given the throw, but it's actually going to be a free kick to be taken by Chris Richards as the floodlights. Well, the floodlights I think were on probably at kick-off. The rain's just starting to come down at Selhurst Park as well. Played now towards the edge of the area, headed away by Vandenberg. Second ball drops at the edge of the box. Goodness me, what was that from Aya? He hooks it up in the air, but actually goes behind him. It bounces towards the goal line, and in the end, Aya's just happy to nod it out for a corner. Well, Brentford as I say, they've played well in the last 5 or 6 games, barring that one defeat they've had. But I mean, in this game, they are reverting back to all their old bad habits: nervous defending, slow possession, nothing being generated up front, and in addition to that, sort of individual errors are sort of starting to creep in en masse now, really, here at Selhurst Park. But Palace with the corner kick now from the right-hand side. There will be an outswinger from Jeremy Pino. He's got options here for the short ball as well in Kamada, but it looks like he wants to send an outswinger towards the 6-yard box. It's a very low ball, easily cleared away by Otara. Then a second ball coming in from Kamada. It's headed down and volleyed towards goal by Lerma. But the ball is cleared, and eventually Igor Thiago, at least he can say, got a touch of the ball there, because he does clear it towards the halfway line, where Henderson had allowed himself to get all the way to the halfway line. He then pumps the ball back in towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area. He was waiting for that one to come down, but as he was doing so, the ball just bounced a little bit too far away from him. And in the end, it's safely out for a goal kick to Brentford. Dean Henderson, well, I'm not surprised that he's just allowed himself to wander towards the halfway line, because he's had absolutely no work to do in goal so far today. It's played up towards the halfway line. In the air, taken down, and now it's played forward towards Mateta. It's Aya going back towards his own goalkeeper. Clearing it long, but just putting it up on the halfway line here with Henderson. Jordan Henderson now with a ball towards the edge of the area. Richards heads it up in the air. The loose ball's taken down by Sharda. And here is Damsgaard now, just in front of the penalty area. Tries to force the ball through, but that one is blocked off by Lerma. Second ball kept alive here by Jordan Henderson. He finds Damsgaard. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Into the box, that ball goes. Aya then plays it square, but it's charged down by Lacroix. It's back with Damsgaard. Crossed into the penalty area. Diving header this time, Lacroix getting a bit more distance on it, but it's still kept alive here by Otara and Coyote on the right-hand side. Coyote with an attempted cross here to deflect off Jeremy Pino. That will be a throw-on to Brentford, so we know what's coming here. It's going to be Michael Coyote. No, surprised all of us. He's taken a short throw this time towards Yarmolik, and then Henderson with the ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, but there's not enough power on that header from Aya. Hopefully we'll see a replay, because I'm not entirely sure if Aya was actually heading that one towards goal, or if he was planning to head that across the 6-yard box. He was quite far wide by the far post there. But Palace playing out from the back. They've lost the ball before they've even reached the halfway line. This is what Brentford need to do. They just need to step it up a little bit, try and force a few more errors from the home side, because it's obvious to say that if Brentford don't get the next goal in this game, well, they're going to lose it, as I say, quite comfortably. But now they're trying to force the issue a little bit more. The referee, Peter Banks, is waiting a very long time for an advantage that doesn't come for Brentford before he decides that there was a foul on Dango Otara. And that gets a reaction from the Palace fans who are on their feet on that far side, because to me, I'm not so sure. Well, I mean, there's a raised boot there from Gay, but I think that was in the process of actually trying to clear the ball. I wouldn't say there was much intent from that. But the referee deciding that Brentford, 2 or 3 passes later, still didn't have any advantage, so he decides that the Bees will have a free kick. And it's in a similar position to a free kick that Palace had in the first half. It's around 35 yards out, but it's a long way over on the right-hand side. It's too wide, really, for a shot on goal. So right-footers Henderson and Damsgaard are standing over this one. We'll see what they can generate with this free kick. Palace have set up at the edge of the area with their offside. It's Henderson's ball into those. It's catching practice for Henderson, for the other Henderson, I should say, for Dean Henderson in goal. Henderson's cross caught by Henderson, which really would be impressive if it was the same person, of course. But now it's back with it's a ball into the box from the right-hand side, and it's Yarmoliak's cross. I mean, he gets a bit of luck there, Yarmolik, because the ball takes a big deflection off Daichi Kamada, and it deflects so far away that Dean Henderson's right, charging towards that one, couldn't keep it in play. So Brentford now have a corner. 59.5 minutes gone here at Selhurst Park on unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary. Crystal Palace 2, Brentford 0. Reserve scoreline for the Eagles, who have been the better side. Corner kick to Brentford now on the right-hand side. It's Damsgaard's ball. It's a low ball. It bounces past the first player at the near post. It doesn't quite sit with the Brentford player, and it's cleared up towards the halfway line. Brentford in their change kit this afternoon. Something akin to Man City colours, really, with stripe going through the middle, whereas Palace is always their home kit here at Selhurst Park. There's very few teams that would clash with it, generally speaking. So Brentford, of course, any team for that matter, always wanting to wear their second and third kit. From the kit maker's point of view, just to make sure they can get as many of those sold as they can. Lacroix pointing towards the goal kick. He says that the ball came off the Brentford player last, and he thought about it, the referee, but he decides that is the correct decision. It will be a throw on. So it will be a goal kick here to Palace. Towards the halfway line. So referee spots a foul there, I think, from it's a handball, in fact, from Jefferson Lerma. Not sure there was too much in that one, really, but Brentford have taken the free kick short, and there's still plenty of Palace players close by. So it's just slowing everything down for the time being. Goes now towards Nathan Collins. That's scored that own goal to make it 2-0 to Crystal Palace. Back now towards the goalkeeper here, Quentin Kelleher. Damsgaard has dropped a bit deeper, but this is the kind of possession that Brentford are going to have between now and full time. Then Palace aren't going to worry at all. So a lot of passes being exchanged here deep inside the Brentford half. So now a ball over the top, played towards the edge of the area. It's headed clear. Half a chance here for Palace to get forward, but Kamada hits the deck and he wasn't fouled. Brentford have taken the throw on quickly. Damsgaard then finding Otara. Back to Damsgaard, who's heading towards the edge of the area. There's an overlap there from Dango Otara. He does lift the ball into the box. It's too high for Igo Thiago. It's too fast for the covering of Sharda on the left-hand side, and that's just aimlessly out for a... in fact, what's the referee given here? Oh, it must have got a touch off a Palace player on the way out, because it has been given as a throw to Brentford. So it's not all lost here for the Bees. They've still got a chance to try and launch it in here from Michael Coyote, even though he surprised us with a short throw last time. I can imagine this is likely to be a long throw. This time it is. He does launch it into the 6-yard box. It's flicked on. It's played towards goal. Brentford are appealing a handball. The referee thinks about it, and in the end he's given a free kick against Brentford there for a raised boot. I think that Brentford are saying that there should be a VAR review for a potential penalty. But Nathan Collins, he's not letting this one go. He's still trying to berate the referee here that should be a VAR review for a penalty. The referee's saying that there's a raised boot. Let's just see. Well, which came first? I mean, I suppose the raised boot from Vandenberg then forces the ball onto Ismail Yassar's arm. So if the referee has made the call that the boot from Vandenberg is too high, well, then it can't be a handball then, can it? Because the boot was high before the ball even hit the hand. So, and the other thing as well is that it's worth pointing out that Ismail Yassar had his arm up, but he was turning to be level with Sepp Vandenberg, and the ball strikes him from less than a yard away. So Brentford are clutching at straws anyway. There's never going to be a penalty, even if it wasn't a raised boot. I don't think there was a penalty there. Now Brentford want a free kick for a foul on Yarmolenko, which isn't coming, and Munoz has used that. He's played the ball into the penalty area. It's across it's into the 6-yard box, and it deflects out for a corner kick in the end. But it's a real mess for Brentford at the back at times. Henderson's still trying to make the point to the linesman that there should have been a free kick, but now Brentford are getting ready to make a triple change. Matthias Jensen, Keane Lewis Potter and Vitaly Janelt getting ready to come on, so it's a wide player plus 2 central midfielders here to come on for the Bees. First of all, we're going to see this corner kick for Crystal Palace. It's going to be an outswinger from Jeremy Pino. To see where his teammates have positioned themselves. It's 2 inside the 6-yard box, another 4 inside the penalty area, and 2 waiting at the edge of the box. He's still doing a little bit of housekeeping here before he allows this free kick, in fact, this corner kick to be taken. And here is Pino now, headed away at the edge of the 6-yard box by Collins. Second header there from Vandenberg, gets rid of the ball, and then it's headed on by Sharda up towards the halfway line, but there was nobody up there for Brentford. So the last man back for Palace there, Tyrick Mitchell, just scoops the ball and sends it long up towards the penalty area. It's headed clear by Yarmoliuk, and now it just opens up for Brentford in midfield. Suddenly they've got a half a chance here to get forward. It's with Damsgaard on the right hand side, just checks his run. He's it back into midfield for Henderson. Coyote now back towards Collins, and square now to Vandenberg, closed down here by Ismaila Sarr. With the goalkeeper, thought about it, clearing it long there, Kelleher, but just decides to hold on to it for now. So the right hand side here now for Brentford, back towards Kelleher. Down towards Coyote on the right hand side, just skips away from Kamada, but it's still very well marshalled here in the middle of the park for Crystal Palace. There's no easy way out for Brentford. They're going to try a long ball this time. It's just Collins hit and hope towards Igor Thiago. That's been dealt with by Gay, but then the loose ball's been picked up here by Damsgaard. He plays it back towards the edge of the area. The ball deflects back into the path of Mikael Damsgaard. He's got support on the left here from Dango Otara. His ball across the penalty area. It doesn't find a teammate, but it's Coyote will keep the ball in play for Brentford on the right hand side. He goes back towards Yarmoliuk. Henderson back to Yarmoliuk again. Real pressure here, but goals flying in the Premier League, by the way. I'll tell you about that in just a moment, but we'll see this attack out for Brentford because Vandenberg now has Otara on the left hand side. He lifts the ball into the box. It's overhit. Nobody within range of that one, unfortunately, as far as Brentford are concerned. And now Tyrick Mitchell picks the ball up for Palace on the left hand side. So it's now Brighton 2, Leeds United 0. Brighton go 2 up against Leeds, and it's Diego Gomez with the goal for Brighton, the Paraguayan, making it 2-0 in that game. It's also 2-0 just on the other side of the Thames there, where Fulham have now gone 2-0 up against Wolves, and it's Harry Wilson, Brentford's nemesis over the last 2 or 3 games between those two sides. He's now made it 2-0 against Wolves, who are down to 10 men after Agbadu got a straight red card. Now that triple change I mentioned for Brentford is now taking effect. Coyote, Yarmoliuk and Damsgaard are getting the hook, and it is Jensen, Lewis Potter and Janelt are coming on. So this will mean that Keane Lewis Potter will now go on the left hand side, and Ayer will come over to the right. That's what I'm assuming. Janelt will replace Yarmoliuk in the middle of the park, and Jensen will replace Damsgaard in that more advanced role. That's what I'm assuming Keith Andrews got in mind. Got to try and do something, because right now Igor Thiago has put on a Brentford kit, he's put on his boots, and he's just running around at Selhurst Park without getting any service whatsoever. And so it's not just a case of blaming him, saying he's got to get into the right position. He is in the right position, the ball's just not reaching an advanced position for him to do it. But Richards does really well there. Long ball played towards Kevin Schade. Richards does well just to judge the flight of that, and he gets the ball away from Schade. He does really well to keep that ball in play as well. And then Mateta forces that ball off Collins and out for a throw. I'm not sure that Mateta needs to motivate the Palace fans every time he goes out for a throw. I understand if they win a corner or a free kick or something, but I mean, there the ball went out for a throw around about the halfway line, and Mateta's celebrating with the fans like he's just scored the winning goal. But in any case, that's what it's come to now. You've got defenders celebrating clearances and headers out for a corner like they've just scored the winning goal. It's just I suppose it's part of that whole social media generation. But it's out for a throw now on the left-hand side. Possession stats in the last 10 minutes, by the way, just 16% for Crystal Palace, 84% for Brentford. But you know, you could easily just say, so what? It's not really had any kind of impact in terms of Brentford's attacking threat. Henderson's only had to catch a couple of crosses. And other than that, it's just been a lot of hard work for Brentford in trying to keep that high amount of possession, but no end product for the time being. It's with Janelt now in midfield. It's back towards Collins. Collins' ball down the right-hand side is well marshalled here by Tyrick Mitchell. Ball deflects off Dango Otara just as he was trying to keep that in play. Out for a throw to Palace. Keith Andrews up on his feet. As I say, he had a difficult start to his tenure at Brentford. Then things have picked up. They're in the next round of the Carabao Cup, albeit they had a nice draw in the previous round, beating Grimsby 5-0 away. Grimsby being a League Two side, of course. But now they have the small matter of away to Manchester City in the quarter-final. But I suppose if you're going to have any cup run ambitions, you're going to have to play the big boys sooner or later. But ideally for Brentford, that would have been at home, really. Away to City in a midweek game just before Christmas won't be ideal. But certainly want to try and give their best account on that occasion. So we have 2 goals scored by every winning side in the Premier League this afternoon. Brighton 2 up against Leeds. Burnley 2 down at home to Arsenal. Palace 2-0 up here against Brentford. Fulham 2-0 up against Wolves. And Nottingham Forest 2-1 up against... That's the real surprise for me. The fact that Forest are beating Man United isn't that much of a shock, but the fact that... But when you consider the poor run that Forest have been on, the great run that Man United have been on, and the fact that United actually led up to half-time, the fact that Forest have turned that around in a minute in the second half, 49 and 50, to make it 1-1 and 2-1. Just 20 minutes to go in that game, just like there is here at Selhurst Park, and there's not been any talk of a United comeback so far. Of course, anything does happen, we'll let you know. Whilst that ball's gone out of play, I can quickly run you through the Championship scores, because there are fewer games today with there being so many early kickoffs. Just to confirm, these are all latest, of course. Birmingham 3, Portsmouth 0, Charlton 1, Swansea City 1, Oxford United 1, Millwall 2, QPR 1, Ipswich Town 4, Sheffield United 0, Derby 3. Sheffield United are in still real serious trouble. Both Sheffield clubs are, of course. Southampton 0, Preston 1, Stoke City 5, Bristol City 0, and Watford lead 3-0 against the Middlesbrough. I won't read all the FA Cup scores, of course, because there are quite a few of them today, with it being the first round. But it's always good. Say I'm not quite sure, in fact, what TV channel is going to show the FA Cup highlights with the current licensing contracts. But that used to be a real favourite of mine back in the day, seeing the FA Cup first round highlights on Match Day, where you get to see teams that you normally wouldn't see, particularly back in the day, in my younger days, where it was that little bit harder just to see live football outside of the big leagues. Nowadays, of course, anything is available on a stream, whether that's official or unofficial. Of course, I would never condone any unofficial streaming, but we all love the game, of course, and sometimes there really are no other options in terms of seeing other fixtures. Particularly 3 o'clock on a Saturday can be quite difficult. That's why we always invite everyone to be listening to our off-tube service. And Palace now just winning the ball back in midfield. They also don't want to allow Brentford to have too long a spell of as high a possession as that. Palace are a very good side without the ball, so they won't be too worried about not having possession. But the longer they go without seeing as much of the ball as they'd like, there's always that chance that Brentford could nick a goal, and then out of nowhere the game gets a lot closer than it needs to be, because really Palace have been in control of this game ever since Mateta gave them the lead. But Palace have just given the ball away in midfield. Otara now moving the ball forward for Brentford. It takes a deflection off the referee, but he doesn't stop play, because it still reached Kevin Schade. Schade was then put under pressure, and he couldn't do anything with it, and Palace have it back with Jeremy Pino just clipping the ball out towards the left-hand side for Tyrick Mitchell. Mitchell now heading towards the edge of the area. It's a good ball, but it's also a good save there, coming out confident. 2 hands there from Kelleher. Catches that one and rolls it out towards rolls it out quickly towards Janel. Jensen now back over towards the left-hand side for Lewis Potter. Just to confirm, it's what we suspected. Lewis Potter has moved over to the left-hand side of defence, with Aya back over on the right. Lewis Potter on the score sheet for Brentford in that game against Grimsby. He would have enjoyed that, being a whole lad from just the other side of the Humber to Grimsby. I'm sure he would have had a very warm welcome from those Grimsby fans on Tuesday or Wednesday night. But ball now back on the Tuesday night, I should say. But by the way, Brighton now 3-0 up against Leeds. Just to confirm that the third goal scorer is Diego Gomez. A brace for him this afternoon, and former Leeds man Jorginho Ruter with the assist in that goal. Here come Brentford now, though, with a nice flick on at the edge of the area from Henderson. It drops to Janel. Janel goes for goal, and that's a real shame, because he's dragged that one wide. Vitaly Janel is left-footed, and the ball sat up nicely for his left foot, but he's just sprayed that off the laces, and it's gone a long way wide in the end. And he's just had a little bit of a shout from his fellow compatriot there in Kevin Schade, saying he could have left that for me. And there's also Keane Lewis Potter, who was just arriving on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Both of those chaps, I think, would have been better suited to try and go for goal in that slightly rushed and off-balanced effort that we just saw from Vitaly Janel. Now Palace, I thought Palace were going to make their first change, but actually it's Brentford making their fourth change of the afternoon. with Dango Otara getting the hook. And he's replaced by Reece Nelson on loan from Arsenal, who actually got his first goal in Brentford colours in that win against Grimsby. He had a couple of really good moves in that game as well, Reece Nelson. Took him a little while to get into that game, but then once he was in full flow, had a decent performance with a really good finish for his goal as well. So we're at 75 minutes here on official independent off-tube studio commentary. It's Crystal Palace 2, Brentford 0. Deserved scoreline in every way. Don't think anyone from Brentford persuasion could have any complaints about who's winning this game. The only complaints could be that Brentford perhaps just been a little bit too flat and lacking a little bit of invention, but they're trying there. Certainly can't fault their effort in terms of trying to push forward. And here they go again now down the left-hand side with Lewis Potter. Plays it in. It's a really good save from Henderson. The striker coming in from the edge of the area, forcing a save from Henderson. That ball just won't go out for got a corner kick in the end, and it's Sharda just doing his best to shepherd it out to at least get a throw on for Brentford. But it's Reece Nelson off the bench and straight into the action. A curling effort from just outside the penalty area. It was a nice height though for Dean Henderson, and he saw it all the way. He still needed to make sure he got two hands to it though. So throw on to Brentford now on the right hand side. Not yet though. We're going to have a little bit of a break in play because Daichi Kamada, the Japanese international, was just sat down in the middle of the park. There's got a bit of a problem, so the Palace medical staff are out to check on him. As I say, Palace haven't made any changes yet, but they might be forced into one now. Just to remind you, it's Canvot, Cardines, Klein, Denny, S.A. Hughes, Sosa and Uche, as well as goalkeeper Benitez. Those are the subs for Palace this afternoon. And Brentford, as I say, they've used quite a few of their subs, but they still have to choose from Carvalho, Henry, Onyeka, Pinnock and subkeeper Valdimarsson. Those are the options left for Brentford with the one substitution they now have left. Made a triple change to start with, bringing on Lewis Potter, Janelt and Jensen, and just bringing on Reece Nelson a few moments ago. But now Palace are going to make a double change, and one of those players is going to be Daichi Kamada. He's off to be replaced by the young Northern Irishman here, Justin Devaney. So, Devaney is on, as is Will Hughes. I'm a fan of Will Hughes. I think that he's very able midfielder. Been sort of in and out of the Palace team really. There was one time where Palace, where he was a sort of regular fixture. This is under the Oliver Glasner era, where he was a regular fixture. Then he sort of fell out of the team, back on the bench, and he's sort of in and out of the team again now. But Brentford, with Coyote off the field, is going to be Jensen to launch this one into the box. It's a good throw as well. It bounces inside the 6-yard box. It drops towards Sharda, who's shoved off the ball there, surely, but I think there wasn't enough in that one for the referee. And quite a demonstrative Peter Banks pointing to the 6-yard box there. I often think, just to clarify, I don't think it's a penalty for Brentford in any way. Sharda's lost his balance far too easily. But I don't like the way in which referees, anyone who's heard my commentary before will know that I have a bee in my bonnet about referees that are very demonstrative about saying, no penalty, play on. Because as soon as the referee does that, particularly if it's Michael Oliver, Howard Webb's head boy, as soon as he does that, then straight away the guys in the VAR room are scared. Because, he's really convinced that it's not a penalty, so I best not say anything just in case. And we know now from one former referee in Mike Dean admitting in a podcast that referees actually sometimes avoid sending their colleague to the screen just because he's having a tough afternoon already. Well, that sort of defeats the whole point of VAR, really. But ranting over, and as I say, it never was a penalty for Brentford there anyway, but just the way that Peter Banks did that goal kick, no penalty, I just think that I don't really think there's any need for that. The referees sometimes make a run for their own back with stuff like that. But here is Lewis Potter down the left-hand side. Well, I mentioned that centre-backs like to celebrate clearances and headers. May well be that referees just like to have their little moment in the spotlight as well. But now, over on the right-hand side is Kevin Shardy. Started a little bit deeper this time, but he loses the ball, and Hughes has dispossessed him. Here is ball out towards the right-hand side for Ismail Yassar. He breaks into the box. He's taking a little bit. And he's then just tried to thread that ball through to Munoz, but he's not got the right touch on it at all. And then it's quickly played back towards the edge of the area, where it's now out towards the right-hand side. Palace under a bit of pressure here as Brentford try and they've had a lot of the ball in the second half of the piece, but they've just not really been able to to get any kind of impact. Just to tell you as well, there was a yellow card. We didn't actually see what that was for, but it's a yellow card for Jordan Henderson. I can only assume that that was for some kind of dissent, maybe after. Oh no, this is after Henderson tried to stop a quick move, but there was also a yellow card earlier in the piece for Kevin Schade. He gave the referee a little bit too much back chat. They're the only two bookings of the afternoon. No yellow cards for Palace thus far. It's a third goal at Craven Cottage, but it's not a way back for Wolves. It's a third goal for Fulham. And I tell you what, I hope that Vitor Pereira enjoyed that pint he had with the Wolves fans in that local in Wolverhampton, because I think he's going to struggle to go back there now with the results of the way they've been. But it's an own goal from Yerson Mosquera, the Colombian centre-back there at Wolves. He scored to make it 3-0 to Fulham. So things not improving at all for Wolves. Albeit I did commentary of their game in midweek against Chelsea in the Cup. And they were unlucky in that game. Chelsea were worthy winners, but Wolves put in a decent shift, considering that Chelsea scored early goals in that game. I think that Wolves would have been pleased with the effort they put in, but sadly, of course, seeing the game today, it's hard to know exactly what's gone on at Craven Cottage, but it seems to me that Wolves have just gone back to type in terms of struggling to have that kind of bite that they need in midfield. Peter Banks just stopping play again. Obviously unhappy about something, but it's going to be a free kick here to be taken by Dean Henderson. Long ball through the middle. It's quickly played back over towards the left-hand side as Palace just they know that the longer they can keep the game at 2-0, the less time there'll be for Brentford to do anything. And Brentford, in fairness, haven't really had many efforts on goal at all. They've had a lot of possession, but nothing really to show for it. They're on the attack now down the left-hand side with Reece Nelson. That's much better from Nelson, though. He just deflects that ball out off combination of Richards and Munoz, and it's out for a corner kick to Brentford now on the left-hand side, and Matthias Jensen is across to take this one. He's got options of the short ball, but there's also a couple of big men in the box for Brentford, and that's forgotten man of Igor Thiago, who's barely had a touch of the ball this afternoon. He's still waiting for something to happen, but here is Jensen now. They ball in from the left-hand side. It's headed across. It's clear to the edge of the area. Jordan Henderson with a follow-up effort. His strikers charge down. Lewis Potter then with the ball from deep towards the edge of the area. It's flicked on by Collins. Schade with a header back into the box. It's over the head of Igor Thiago. Vandenberg then goes for the header, but as he does so, he is in an offside position. So, in fact, no, it wasn't even Vandenberg. I think it was a Brentford player coming back from the previous move. But whoever it was, there is an offside. And there's also a fourth goal to tell you about at the City Ground, where it's now Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 2. So United have got an equaliser there with around 8 minutes to go, which will certainly please one Manchester United fan who was originally from Nottingham. I think you know who I mean. But anyway, the ball is now back in play. It was Amad Diallo, by the way, that's made it 2-2 in that game. And long clearance now from Henderson. It's headed out for a throw to Palace on the right-hand side. There's a yellow card, though, for Nathan Collins. I'm not entirely sure what he's been booked for. But I'm not sure I like Mateta's sarcastic sort of applause there. It's almost like he's the teacher's pet. They're going, yeah, well done, ref. But that's anyway. I'm not entirely sure what that was for. It's a throw on to Palace on the right-hand side, and Nathan Collins has picked up a yellow card. I have genuinely no idea what that was for. Looking at the comments there, doesn't seem to be for. I mean, it obviously has to be for back chat, but what he actually said to the referee to earn himself that yellow card, I'm not entirely sure. Palace have won themselves another throw after the original throw from Lerma was headed out. Another throw onto the home side. It's a long ball into the box, headed across the 6-yard box. It drops to Will Hughes. He can't get the shot away, and in the end, it's a long clearance, a good clearance as well, over the halfway line and into the Palace half, where the last man back, Mitchell, does really well. He had two Brentford players on him, but he heads it behind himself, and now Palace are on the attacking with Ismaili Assai. Gets into the area, his strike is charged down Ball's back in midfield, and there's Igor Thiago. That's 1, 2, 3 touches for the big man. So he's definitely been on the pitch today, and he's definitely had a touch of the ball. But I'm not saying that to have a go at him, by the way. I just think it's a reflection of how poor Brentford have been in terms of finding their striker, who's actually been in decent goal-scoring form this season. Now Brentford trying to start something here on the left-hand side. Reece Nelson in towards Lewis Potter. Gets to the edge of the area, has got an overlap from Reece Nelson. He breaks into the box. His run is charged down. He has to then go back towards Janel. And here is Lewis Potter lifting the one into the 6-yard box, headed away by Mitchell. Bouncing ball at the edge of the area, just gets away from Henderson. Collins is trying to win that ball back off Mateta, who's got further and further back now. He's back at the edge of his own penalty area here now, Jean-Philippe Mateta, before he eventually hits the deck. Is he going to clap this one as well? Is he going to turn to the Palace fans and say, come on, clap me for winning a free kick? But no, it's just going to be a free kick to Palace now, just at the edge of their own penalty area. 4.5 minutes to go before we hit injury time at Selhurst Park. And no change in the other scores. Brighton still lead against Leeds by 3-0. It's still Burnley 0, Arsenal 2. Palace lead against Brentford in this game by 2-0. It's Fulham 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. It's 2-2 between Nottingham Forest and Manchester United. A final change for Brentford then. The yellow-carded veteran Jordan Henderson is off, and Fabio Carvalho is on to replace him. So Fabio Carvalho is at number 10. I'm not quite sure what Keith Andrews wants a substitute number 10 to do in 4 minutes plus injury time. He should have really maybe thought about bringing on someone like Carvalho a little bit earlier, because he might have been useful in terms of trying to get a little bit more attacking possession to Igor Thiago. Long ball played now, bouncing ball played towards the Brentford penalty area. Collins and his fellow countryman there, Kelleher, colliding, but thankfully nothing. No problem there for Nathan Collins. Brentford can play on. They need to play on. They haven't got much time here to get at least one goal back and make injury time interesting. Lewis Potter into Carvalho, under pressure there from Hughes. That's not a good ball from Carvalho. He plays it to no one in particular. We'll be very glad that Sharda could track back and keep that ball in play for Brentford. It's now down the left-hand side here with Reece Nelson. Back towards Vandenberg. Square to Collins. So Collins gets to the halfway line, scoops the ball up in the air, and it's a long ball as well, all the way to the edge of the area. Igor Thiago has been forced right into the corner here. Lacroix then heads it off Igor Thiago, and it's out for a goal kick. And there's a real frustrated smile on that. Igor Thiago has that kind of expression when things aren't quite going right. It's that sort of smile of frustration rather than a smile of joy. But whatever it was, you can clearly see that he's had a long afternoon, and now we're getting shots of that corner of Selhurst Park that I mentioned, that corner behind the goal that Palace are defending in the second half. They've done a good job this afternoon of supporting their team. I think they'll be very pleased with the scoreline. As I say, it's not all over yet, but Brentford haven't really had a dangerous shot on target in this game. So how they're supposed to get 2 goals in 2 minutes plus added time to even make it a draw in this game, it seems very, very unlikely today. Ball now played towards Kevin Sharda, but that was easily picked off by Mark Gay. Long ball up towards Ismail Yassar. It's one back for Brentford here by Vandenberg. And clips the ball out towards the right-hand side. Chance now for Ayer. He was immediately being closed down there, so that ball is quickly played back towards the halfway line. Played towards the right-hand side as the visitors really have put in a shift in terms of trying to make things difficult for Palace today, but with no end product. I think that's the worry, I think, for Keith Andrews in this game, is that there have been games where Brentford have just been a little bit off the boil. They've not seen a lot of the ball, and they've just had their opposition have a much better day. Whereas today, Brentford have actually been allowed to play. Palace have given Brentford a lot of the ball, but you've got to say credit to Palace that they've kept Brentford on a leash all afternoon. And goal scorer Jean-Philippe Mateta gets a decent round of applause as he goes off for the final few moments in this game, and he will be replaced by the youngster here, Oliver Glasner, just bringing on for the last few minutes. Is going to be the young Frenchman J.D. Canvo, And Canvo isn't a forward, of course, he's more of a defender, so this is just to shore things up, just to make sure there are no shenanigans, no surprises here from Brentford in these last few minutes. JD Canvo on the field now. That's now back with Vandenberg. Long ball from Vandenberg now played towards the edge of the area. It's headed clear. It's gone up in the air again. Quick ball now from Jensen. Clipped forward here by Janelt, and Jensen carries on his run, and as he does so, he wasn't paying attention to where the offside was, because Matthias Jensen is now flagged for offside. A free kick to Palace as we go into 5 minutes of added time at the end of this game. Makes sense, really. We've had substitutions, we've had a goal, a couple of injuries, a couple of free kicks and corners taking a little bit longer than usual. As I say, most games of football only have around half an hour of ball in play anyway, even when there's no seemingly deliberate time wasting. It's just the nature of having a continuous clock. So whatever time they add on, I feel it's always going to be justified in some way. But Palace will be very pleased after this poor run of form in the league. It's all going to get arrested today. As I say, you just feel as though they potentially were on the cusp of something a bit better after that excellent win away at Anfield, albeit against a very changed Liverpool side, but that's not Palace's fault. They going to Anfield is still a big ask. And, wait and see, of course, how Liverpool play this evening, because just mentioning the champions very quickly, we've got a very important few days coming up now on his slot side. They're at home to Villa this evening in the 8 o'clock kickoff, and then they play Real Madrid on Tuesday, which, by the way, myself and Del Rosso will be on commentary for on Tuesday night. Very much looking forward to that game. It's been a while since I've done a Real. I think I've done one or two Real Madrid games this season. Not seen them too much, but away at Anfield is going to be a big occasion. I'm really looking forward to that one, and see how Liverpool get on there. See how Liverpool get on tonight, because of course if they were to lose to Villa this evening, which you certainly couldn't rule out. I mean, Villa have picked up on form. Brentford beat Aston Villa twice earlier this season, once in the league and once in the League Cup. You just get the feeling that Brentford timed that pretty well, because if they were to play Villa now, it might be a different story. You know, Emery's team have picked up a bit of form, just as I believe they celebrate 3 years of Emery being at Aston Villa. Consider the mess they were in when he took over. They really have improved quite a bit. And they're still on a trajectory as well, as wasted ball there from Fabio Carvalho. Attempted cross from the right-hand side is overhit, and it just sails out for a goal kick to Crystal Palace, which sums up quite nicely really how toothless Brentford's attack has been this afternoon. It's one thing to say that they were dominated by Palace and just couldn't get out of their own half, but that's absolutely not the case. Since Palace have gone 2-0 up, they've pretty much just opened the door to Brentford being in their own half, but they definitely closed the garden gate in terms of stopping Brentford from actually getting into their penalty area, and that's been the crucial thing from Oliver Glasner's side. They have been able to keep Brentford at bay for pretty much the whole game. Long clearance now from Dean Henderson, headed away by Nathan Collins. It's Vandenberg, almost gets caught in possession by Munoz, but he's just able to find a pass out towards the right-hand side here for Matthias Jensen. So just checks his run, then tries a diagonal ball from right to left. It's a good ball as well to pick out Lewis Potter. He plays it first time in towards Nelson. It's back towards Lewis Potter. Here is Reece Nelson again. Now Janelt at the edge of the area, finding Lewis Potter in the box. He plays it back towards Schade. Nice move this from Brentford, but still no end product. Now they get the ball out to Lewis Potter. He then lifts the ball into the penalty area, which again is catching practice for Henderson. I think that sums up quite nicely the way the second half has gone. Decent possession for Brentford. Nice little bit of passing, but in the end the easiest pass into the box, which is far too easy for Henderson to catch. Now Palace do want to make a final change here in the dying seconds of this game. But whether or not there'll even be enough time for Christancius Uche to even get on the field, I'm not even sure if the ball's going to go out of play. We've got less than a minute to play now before referee Peter Banks will be blowing for full time. Ismaili Assar now with the ball for Palace on the right-hand side. Just under pressure there, rolling it back towards Camvo. vote inside now towards Jefferson Lerma. Then gets fouled. Referee says play on, and Palace take it quickly. I think they've taken it too quickly. I'm sure that Munoz was offside, but the flag hasn't gone up. We play on. Munoz then finding Will Hughes at the edge of the area. Hughes then holding it up, getting all the way towards the line before it deflects off Vandenberg, but it's still kept in play here by Munoz. Brentford do win it back eventually here. Now it's Lewis Potter up towards the halfway line, but we're out of time. We've had the full 5 minutes. There's a little bit of an elbow out there from Jefferson Lerma. I'm sure the referee was too concerned about that. I think he just decided it's going to be a free kick to Brentford and nothing else, but there won't be any more time for Brentford to take the free kick or for Palace to make their substitution. It's all over here at Selhurst Park. It's a comfortable win for Crystal Palace in the end. They scored 1 goal in the first, 1 in the second, and kept Brentford at bay throughout the 90 minutes. Thank you very much for joining me. For myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz. Do join us again soon.